I'm not touching anything.
Okay, welcome to At the Kitchen Table. I'm Judy Witz-Francini from Tuscany, Divina Cucina, and my guest today is Pamela Sheldon Johns. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, so we're both California girls. I'm from up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and Pamela, you were from Santa Barbara, is that right?
I grew up in Long Beach and then escaped to Santa Barbara when I became an adult, and lived there for 10 years before I moved to Italy.
And so when did you move here?
That was 2001, a few years after you. What time did you come?
1984.
Yeah. So
when did you start bringing tours though? Because you have your, which came first? Book writing, teaching?
Okay, so I was just a traveler like most people, loving Italy, going as often as I could. And in 1991, I think I met Rolando, who Ken mentioned earlier before we started, Rolando Baramendi, in a cooking class in my cooking school in Santa Barbara. And he invited me to come over to the winery that he was working at, which was Capezzana in Tuscany. And we just hit it off, and we started bringing groups over in 92. That was when we first started that. Mm-hmm. And we worked together there for about 4 years. He decided to leave and go to Montepulciano. And it sounded like a good idea to me too. So I came along, and we were doing the cooking classes here for a couple of years. And then he decided to move again, and I just stayed. I stayed. And we were doing the classes at Avignonesi, the winery.
Okay, yeah.
I did that for a few years, and then I decided to just go on my own and not be sponsored by one winery, because it opened up a lot more things for me.
So when did you buy the farm?
In 2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Jerry was just asking too.
20 years.
That's amazing, isn't it? So you have olive oil on your farm.
Yes, we produce, well, we certified organic about 17 years ago. We started the process. And we have about 800 olive trees, 400 vines, Sangiovese, and 2 chickens, some horses, and a very hungry husband all the time.
I always love seeing the pictures of you on your tractor.
I love that too. For a long time before I got the horse, I wanted the tractor was my horse. I still love to get on it. It's one of my favorite jobs. Just to be out there and free and riding and the fresh air, and awfully noisy, but you have these, headphones on. It's really nice work.
And so what about book writing? I remember I found you through the Food Artisan book, which is still one of my favorite books.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites too. I started writing when I was still in California, and it was an interesting IACP story, because we have some IACP people here listening today. The IACP, International Association of Culinary Professionals, I was one of the very early members, would attract a lot of people like myself at the time who wanted to learn more about the business and do, some networking and meeting people. The conferences were wonderful for that. And at a certain point, I was trying to become a writer. I was writing in Long Beach. I was writing for the Grunion Gazette, which is a very well-known little journal. And I was writing restaurant reviews for them and doing things like this. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I got a request to write a proposal for a book. And the book working title was Fresh and Natural, The Beautiful Cookbook. And do you remember those big, beautiful
The series, yeah, this beautiful cookbook series, yeah.
And so I got very excited, and I thought, well, I'm kind of the right person for this, because that was my style, eating fresh seasonal food. Even back then, we're talking in the 80s. And so I wrote a really nice proposal. And actually, no, you know what it was? The first request was for California the Beautiful cookbook.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, I'm going to get this because I'm a California girl and I love all that California cooking. It was really before Alice Waters was really becoming what she was. And so I didn't get that book. I didn't get it. Philip Salivary got to write that book because our mutual friend, Marion Cam, recommended him because he was right there in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But then they wrote back to me, and this was Collins, and they said, well, would you like to write another book that you seem perfect for? It's called Fresh and Natural, the Beautiful Cookbook. And that's how I got my first cookbook. It's just, they changed the name because they decided Fresh and Natural, the Beautiful Cookbook sounded like a feminine hygiene product. So they decided Healthy Gourmet would be a better name. And that book, I'm so excited to still say this, in 1983, I'm remembering because my mother turned 80 that year, got nominated for a James Beard Award.
Fabulous.
And that was a thrill. And I never got another nomination. I didn't win, but I continued to write. Who won in that competition? I was up against Alice Medrich.
Oh my God, yeah.
Wonderful person. And she had that chocolate cookbook, if you remember it, for diet chocolate. And the other contender was Jacques Pepin. Anybody remember who won? Alice. Alice won. Wow. We were delighted, really happy. So then, the publisher and I started working together and doing other books, and there you go. Can't help myself. I love writing.
So how many books is it? Like 17 or 18?
17. Yeah.
Are you going to keep going?
Yeah, I'm always writing. And I thought maybe, this year, since I wasn't doing my cooking school and bed and breakfast and all the things that I do here, I thought, well, maybe I'll be able to write. But, it ended up that I became a full-time, fully immersed farmer this last year.
Well, there's the book.
It's like, but I loved it. I really did. And it was like it was a wonderful excuse to just get out and work. I really, I feel stronger. I feel taller, interestingly, for having done that. Because we weren't able to hire anybody this year. So my husband and I did it, and it was fine.
Isn't that great?
Yes, but I'm ready to hire somebody now.
So how many rooms do you have?
Well, we have 3 apartments. Each one has 2 bedrooms. Mm-hmm. And they all have kitchens, fireplaces.
So they're apartments, yeah.
Yeah, and people can go out into my organic kitchen garden and pick what they want and cook. And we do the cooking classes too.
One thing that I've seen has been a kind of a problem for people that are running like cooking classes and their gardens is that they're overflown. There's just so much food now because you planted probably expecting to be using that food, right?
No, I already knew because, things started happening. Let's say about a year ago right now, I was in Venice for Carnevale. And who had a clue? There was no clue that this was about to blow up. And in fact, it blew up while I was there. Remember how they shut down Carnevale last year?
Yeah, exactly. I think people think of it as happening in March, but Carnival, I think, was actually the first real signs. They had talked about it, I think already like back in November. There was like China, right?
Those that couple that were traveling or something, and they found they had it in Rome. But anyway, I got on the train a little bit early and came home. And I remember, writing on Facebook, oh, I'm not afraid of anything. We're not locking ourselves up and staying away. But 2 weeks later we were.
Yeah.
And it roared out of nowhere. And now we all know what it is. So I don't have to talk about it so much. But at that point, I understood that there was going to probably be quite a long time with no income, let's say. And so we did plant a garden for ourselves.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
And enough to can also. So I still have a lot of, a lot of things that I put up and mentioned about books. This is a book I'm working on right now, Traditional Preserving.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So it was great. I got to go with each season and, spend some time working it out a bit.
And I think it's kind of been really nice too. It's like, I think usually we wear many hats, right? And I think it's really nice to just like wear one hat and concentrate.
It was interesting, Judy. I mean, honestly, it changes your point of view a little bit. And also I think it makes me a better, so I'm almost like the foreman because I'm always telling my people what to do, like now we need to go prune and we do it this way and so forth. I did it and I know what I'm asking people to do even better now because I've done that. It was good. It was good. I feel that this whole pandemia was, intended for us to rethink things a little bit, and I definitely have. I've had some time to do that. Normally, I don't have, and I've had time to kind of, look at our business, make it more sustainable, and think about where I want to go with it. I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah, you kind of wonder too. It's like I've kind of think for a lot of people too, this has really been like another Italian Renaissance, and how creative people have been in recreating themselves if they could. I mean, I've been trying to go around and contact people. It's like, what are you doing? Can you do anything? What can you do online for people that really were depending on their cooking classes, because like you've always been kind of varied anyway, like with having the book and other things going on. But some people, that's all they had, especially if they're Italian.
Or guides, some of the guides who only.
Oh yeah. And they really, I've seen some of the guides have gone online, which has been fascinating for like armchair travel. And I think now that after summer, when it really kicked in again, that we weren't going to be working again, more guides started doing research and putting together online Zoom trips where like people in Florence could walk around still and take photographs and share that with people, which is really nice because I think people really miss coming to Italy and being there.
Too. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was thinking, Judy Witz Franchini is a pioneer here. She was one of the first people, telling you all this, you all know it already, but she was one of the first people to start teaching cooking and sharing that side of Italy with people. And I think, I like to consider myself there too. I came after, but I think Judy, Faith Willinger, and then somewhere around the same time as me, Peggy Merkel also, are people who have tasted it long enough to be able to share that experience in a different way.
Yeah, before I think, the inspiration to me, of course, we had, Marcella Hassan. It was mostly the people with the villas and the estates, like you said, the wineries. So we had, remember Fulvia Cezanne? She was fabulous. She had her palazzo in Venice, and she originally was a pharmacist, and it was Lorenzo de Medici who had the winery estate, of course, and Capezzana, which I don't think they opened up until someone helped them open up, right? So they weren't doing it themselves, really.
Faith was really very involved.
Yeah, Faith started the Capezzana and the program there. I remember, where did I go? I didn't go to their program, but I brought somebody once while she was there. I guess the two chefs from Rhode Island were doing a week.
Oh, Joanne and
from Malforno were there. So they would host other chefs. So, but it still wasn't like the Capezzana cooking, right? When you were there, who was cooking? Who taught cooking?
Well, the Contessa was like overseeing the kitchen. But Patrick, I can't think of his last name right now.
He had a chef though.
He was the chef, yeah. Who did a lot of the cooking classes. But there was a lot of participation from other people too.
Yeah, so when I came, what I wanted to do, I remember I had actually applied with Lorenza. I had been back in San Francisco. I travel and teach like in the winter usually. And I had gone for pastry at Tante Marie's and in San Francisco. And Lorenza was there filming her PBS show.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh, maybe I could go assist her in Italy. That would be like an entrance. And I was already living in Italy. So I thought that maybe that would be some way to get into this cooking thing. And I went to Mexico. I was supposed to get married in Mexico. Andrea and I spent the winter in Mexico that year. And I shattered my ankle and I was in a cast. So I went to my interview with Lorenza in a cast. And I'm like, well, this isn't going to work, but I wanted to meet you anyway. You know? And luckily, I didn't get that job because I really think I'm better off not having just learned from one person their way of doing things. But I mean, my way was I had worked in trattorias and I had met artisans and probably, you know, like a lot of people, gone to the source and learned from so many different people. I'm always afraid of like copying somebody. That's my biggest fear is I don't want somebody to think I'm copying them, you know, kind of thing. So like, I try to like stay to my neighborhood. Like I kind of never go down. We live an hour and a half from each other.
Right.
But I never kind of like really go down there. If someone wants Montepulciano, I'm like, well, there's Pamela. It's like, I don't want to ever infringe on somebody else's like space, you know?
Right. I wouldn't see it that way. But you're right. I wouldn't try to bring somebody to Certaldo either. Even Florence, you know, I see that as your territory. I remember you doing the cooking classes, but the market classes there.
Yeah, that was really fun. For 20 years I was there.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that. Even now it's so sad to see it closed down. You know, it's like the market's still open, but without tourists. I just saw a headline yesterday when I was driving around that they said the American students are coming back to Florence, and I can't believe that.
I don't know about that. Well, I don't even know if they're being allowed in, are they?
No, but you know, when you drive by in Italy, I don't know if you guys have all been here, but there's outside the newspaper stands, there's always like a front page headline to catch your attention. And they're very, this is probably from some local stupid paper or something, not a real newspaper. And it said, American students coming back to Florence. I should actually read what it was. I didn't see I just took the picture and didn't look at it really. So I don't really know, but
it's hard to plan right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask one of my girlfriends who actually teaches the American students. But okay,
I have a group from Georgia College every year that comes. The professor's a history professor, Craig Pasco's his name, and he does learning about the culture and history of a place at the table.
Yeah,
and it's a wonderful program, and we've done it for I think about 8 years now. He does some time in Florence, and he comes here for a week, and we visit the artisans and cook together and forage and do all kinds of things. And the kids are great. They're really great. And he's telling me right now that it's this moment right now that they're having to make a decision. And based on what's going on, it's hard to imagine that this would happen.
Yeah, I'm just seeing this. Well, this was the La Nazione in Florence, which is kind of our trashy newspaper. And it says the return to the center of Florence from American students. But that just could be a teaser for something. But I wouldn't think anybody would be here before September if they come at all, because the students too, they're also the last people on the list to be able to get the vaccine, right? Age-wise?
Probably. I think, you know, it's only just been a couple of weeks that they've allowed university students to come back into the classroom. My daughter's been home this whole time online.
And where was she studying right now?
She goes to the University Institute Marangoni in Florence.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
And she's doing fashion business.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't she in Torino for a while too?
Oh, she did high school there, performing arts. And then she went to Rome and she started marketing and public communications and public relations in Rome. And now her last year of university, she wanted to focus on fashion business. So that's what she's doing. But she's had very little time there. We got a nice little party for her.
Wasn't Johnny a fashion teacher in Florence? Where did he teach?
Yeah.
At the Institute?
Lorenzo de Medici.
Okay. I taught for Lorenzo di Medici. How come I didn't know that?
When were you there?
I don't remember, but they sent people to me before they actually had they didn't really have a program at the school. They had a program, and then the program stopped, and then they started sending them to me because I had the space right there. And then we opened a space at the school too.
He was there around 2002 probably. And this,
oh no, I was gone by then. I was gone.
Yeah, the program was on the Altrano, or the other side, over by.
Do you have one of Johnny's bags with you?
Do I have one with me?
No.
I might.
I should have brought mine out. I have one of his bags made from those film posters.
I'll show you my own, the one he made for me.
Okay.
On one side, can you see it? Is this good?
Uh-huh.
One side is an old tapestry from a chair that I used to have.
That's beautiful.
And the other side is Italian movie posters.
Yeah, that's what mine is too. Yeah.
Yeah. That he turns this into, you know, kind of a shopping bag. And then for a long time, but he finally ran out of khaki pants. He was lining it with his khaki pants.
I think I have a jean pocket on mine.
Do you?
Yeah.
He's got
and
a lot.
Who did your fresco on your wall, since we're just looking at your house now?
Oh, that's him.
Okay.
He did that, you know, you might recognize the subject, but
yeah.
That actually he did for our house in Santa Barbara, but
oh, nice.
He did our olive label.
Yeah, I was going to say, show the label.
Yeah.
You can't really see. Put it up closer. Can you see? It's a peace dove, right?
Yeah, holding an olive branch.
Yeah, it's a little out of focus, but I can see now. Poggio Etrusco, yeah.
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 So
later too, what I think we'll do is we'll put when I put this on YouTube, I'll put a link to your website, because you're really good about shipping oil to people. You're one of the few people I trust shipping oil.
Appreciate that. Yeah. We sold all of our oil this year. We were just so excited because
oh, great.
That was our only income for the year. And we had, you know, it was like, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but it seems to me that there was a little bit of a climate change here. When,
totally.
When we totally shut everything down and there was no cars and airplanes and all of this going on, it seems like we had a very wonderful spring kind of at the right time, and, you know, gorgeous spring weather that lasted nice and long, a nice hot summer. And now this winter is a little bit wet and kind of funky again, but, you know, we had what seemed to be a normal olive harvest, and that nasty fly that has been bothering us since 2014 didn't show up.
Yeah, that was so great.
It was amazing. I had more olives on the tree than I had seen for a long time, also because I didn't prune as much this year. So there's just more, okay. And when we were getting everything ready to do the harvest, about 12 days before, there was the most fierce hailstorm that we've ever had. Hail the size of golf balls for 30 minutes, beat the holy out of the trees.
Scary.
There was nothing left on the grapevines.
Oh my God.
And about 1/3 of the olives went down on the ground. And so it was like, you know, another COVID lesson. It was like, you know, don't count your grapes in the basket until you got them in the press and making wine with them. But you know, I was surprised. We really still had a very, very good crop.
That's great. And what was the percentage this year of the oil?
No, it was lower. It was lower. We had around 10% yield.
Yeah.
The yield, you know, that doesn't tell you everything. It seems like all the old farmers want to talk about, oh, I got 12%, I got 14%. But you know, the riper the olive is, the blacker the olive is, the more oil it's going to give you. But it's not necessarily the best oil.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it stays on the tree long enough, that it's almost starting to do something that would make you think of rancid. And then, in the old days when they would pick them up off the ground and things like that, they gave a lot of oil, but it wasn't a quality oil. So for me, the reza, it's called, the yield doesn't tell you what you need to know.
No, for me, it's almost like less is more.
Yeah.
But I remember I had friends who are Italian, and they had property up near Lucca, right? And Lucca on the hills, it's really hard to harvest anyway. But I remember they were so proud of their technique. They would wait till the olives were black. They would shake them off the tree, which is what they do there. They would catch them in the nets. They would lay them out like in a covered area or something, and then put them in their baskets and like wait. So I'm thinking, okay, they're black, they're falling, they're bruised, they're starting to ferment. This is rancid oil. And they were so pleased that that their technique gave them such a high amount of oil.
Mm-hmm.
And because they let the water evaporate. But what most people don't know is that also it's fermented and rancid oil. And so for a lot of people, when like we were talking about maybe doing an olive oil tasting, but it's kind of hard if people aren't tasting with you to actually know. So once I arranged, I think we're actually at Dario's. Dario gave us his back room, and we sat down and we had one of his friends come and do an olive oil tasting for us. And I had to go take someone to the pharmacy or something, you know how that is. And when I came back, I said, oh, what did I miss? And he said, oh, you didn't really miss anything because I had them taste a rancid olive oil. And he goes, you don't need to do that. I go, wait, that's what I want to taste. I want to know what a bad oil tastes like, because I think you can talk about rancid, think people are going to know what rancid is, but most of the oils that are sold have been rancid and have been, corrected, right? All those commercial olive oils have been corrected, and we don't really know what fresh oil tastes like. So
I do. Well, I got my certificate, olive oil taster, and so I do tastings. And one of the things that we have, and you're going to have to come down here, Judy, and but we have these little bottles of testers, laboratory chemical compositions that simulate those defects that you're talking about. And so sometimes it's a defect that's called fusti.
Yeah.
When we press the olives. And excuse me for a second. When you press the olives and we don't filter, the olive in the process the oil goes through a screen to hold out any little pieces or bits of this skin or that. But I feel like it's much more healthy if you don't filter it through for a paper type filter, like a coffee filter or something like that. So there are sediments in the oil after you do it, because it kind of creates an emulsion as it's pressing. And then you put it in your big silver tin and let it stand for a couple of weeks. What I do for a couple of weeks until I bottle it, because those sediments settle down to the bottom. You may have seen that in olive oil, you guys. I mean, it's like a little bit of it is quite natural. But if the olive oil stays on that for a period of time, it becomes what's called fusti, F-U-S-T-Y. It's a great word. And so we have samples of all these different defects that I make people taste too. But a really crappy COVID thing happened to me this year. I don't talk about it very much because I'm still kind of in denial about it. But I think it's possible that early on, I might have had the virus. And there was 3 weeks where I was really, really sick and bad. And I have asthma. I thought it was just asthma. So I was coughing a lot and so forth. Anyway, I got better and everything was okay. But all of a sudden, in my nose came this strange smell. And and then we didn't know at that time, and I'm talking about a year ago or a little less, we didn't know losing taste, which
those
I had
first symptoms.
But yeah, that could have been something. I still have this problem. And it's really disturbing to me because, I don't feel like I can do a professional tasting now because I have interference.
I think also once I had that, I was in California, and I think it was somewhere like maybe the Berkeley Bowl, kind of a really nice shop, and I bought pine nuts, and I got those pine nuts from China, and I got pine nut mouth. And you lose your sense of taste. It kind of gives you a metallic taste in your mouth for like a week. So there's these really short pine nuts that have a little dark spot on them that aren't the long, beautiful Italian ones. They're much cheaper. And most people are buying those. And I think that's one of the things is losing a sense of smell or taste when you're trying to cook. It's just, who wants to even cook? It's so horrible.
Well, I was a super taster before, and that's annoying too sometimes if you smell and taste too much.
Yeah.
But I still have my sense of taste, and I'm thankful for that. I just have this perpetual little funny, it changes too. It's interesting. I'm like, who's in there?
My girlfriend, Marlena Spieler, she lives in London, but she wrote for the San Francisco Chronicle.
I talked to her
She
about
was
that.
home one year and she got hit by a car and she lost her sense of taste and smell for quite a long time. And then she got what she calls phantasma, ghost smells.
That's
where
what
she
I
was
had.
smelling things that were not had anything to do with anything. Just
Yeah,
random
that's what
smells.
I have. And actually, I had lots of chats with her because I remembered that incident. And so she had some good suggestions for me. And I've just been doing this. What she did too is like this retraining of my nose to. So every morning I put on a nice spray of Narciso Rodriguez. You know what that is? This best smelling perfume ever. And I have an excuse to put it on every day with nobody else around. No lipstick, no bra. I just put this perfume on. And I do think it's helped a little bit. It's like made my nose stand up and pay attention to what it's supposed to be smelling.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's like the worst thing for someone who cooks is for pleasure and for work, you know?
Yeah.
And so, gosh, you know, I can't even think about really the future right now. Are you dreaming about like past September or next year?
I have these groups that I had to cancel. And so I've rebooked them 3 times now because we're always hopeful. And I don't know what I'm not booking anything like that until September, October, because I just don't even know about that.
Yeah, I keep wondering just who, because even if they, you know, reopen the airports and let people fly in because you have got your vaccine, and that's no big deal, I think, to have a vaccine to fly. I mean, a lot of times going to Africa or going to China or going to a lot of places you had to get shots to travel. That's no big deal. And
Yeah.
it seems intelligent that you're traveling with people that all have their vaccines.
Well, I'm not going to start working with people again until I have it.
Yeah, so we don't even know when we're getting it, right? So have they told you down there when they think?
No. If anybody's interested, there's a really interesting blog. You might know her. It's called Stethoscope on Rome. And she's an American woman who's lived in Rome for 50 years and writes about this, about the treatments that are being tried and the vaccines and the different things that are happening with it. I think it's a really good. Have you seen it, Judy?
No, I'm following my girlfriend who's a doctor in Boston, and she was a cancer doctor. And basically, since COVID has come up, everyone's attention has gone to that. So she does these missives that come out on huge, beautiful explanations of what's happening there, because she works with like research centers and what's happening, and just simple terms about what's going on and what to expect kind of for people that have symptoms, or getting your vaccines and traveling and how to protect yourself and just be smart.
Yeah, let's just hope for the best. I feel hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's one more thing. It's not like things haven't happened before.
Yeah. So, I think some of the good things that have come out of, what, I mean, we can list a whole lot of things that aren't good about this pandemic, but like Zoom, for example, this is something we might not be doing this if it weren't for the situation. And how nice to see all of you. It's, I'd like to just put my hands on you and give you a hug, but I think it's really been helpful. And then the other thing that's been happening here too is that, as a provider, as a food person here, I have to take probably you're familiar with it, a lot of you, HACCP certification. And so we have renewals for that, sanitation and how to handle food and those kind of things. Then as a hotel owner, we could say, or innkeeper, I have to take things like take courses about first aid and and things like this and get a certificate for that. And then as a farmer, I have to take courses, even though we're organic. The only thing that we use is copper and sulfur, and not even much of that. But in order to buy them and handle them, we have to get a certification for doing that too. Okay, all these classes that we have to take. And now we get to take it online. It's really great because you put a shirt on, your pajamas underneath, you know, nobody can see it. You're just kind of kicking back like this. And I've liked it so much better, although it's fun to be there and meet people. The last course I did was first aid. So the doctor, you know, he is very serious, and he's talking about how the heart and the lung work together, and the CPR and all of this. And one of the people in the window, she reaches over, grabs a cigarette, and lights it up like this. I was just like, what? I just don't think, maybe people here haven't gotten used to the understanding that I'm looking at all of you right now. And so if you do something funny, I'm going to see you. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's it too. I think a lot of people don't realize that people are watching you.
Exactly.
Or and like, too, like right now, like you can see somebody, but you also see what's behind them. And so people go walking. So you see some of those videos on TV now where like mom is naked walking from the shower to the bathroom, not really realizing that her kid is online doing a Zoom thing, you know, and they get caught. So you have to be aware of everything, you know.
Before we went on, I said, Judy, can you hear the dog barking? He stopped now because some of you've met my dogs. Louis is a little Bolognese, and he's so attached to Johnny, my husband, that Johnny goes out. He took my daughter somewhere, and the dog cries his heart out the entire time.
Oh, how
and
sweet.
I'm judging that Johnny is back by now because the dog's finally quiet. But I'm glad he quieted
very
down.
Sweet, because they're kind of little yappy little dogs too. They're very sweet.
Well, yeah, he's got a lot.
Yeah, noisy. So, what's been like your comfort food during this all?
I've been cooking big meals every day for us. Probably pasta. I still love pasta.
Are you doing menu planning, or do you just kind of like go for it?
You know, we get our groceries delivered. Okay, because of my asthma, I don't feel great going out, and I've gone out very little in this last year. We have someone who brings our groceries to us. So I make up a list, you know, of whatever vegetables I think I can get. And then it's just each day, I'm just like, okay, I got a lot of broccoli today. Let's see what we'll do with it. We eat a lot of veggies.
Don't you think really here most people eat mostly vegetables?
I think
beans
so.
And rice and greens, and you go out for those, you know, the big gargantuan meals like at Dario's, the big steaks and all that stuff. It seems to take the forefront of people posting photographs of food. Is a very rare meal. It's a celebration kind of thing, and the Christmas meals and the stuff like Easter and things like that. But mostly, I think we eat like 2 or 3 kinds of vegetables a day, maybe even twice a day.
I think people have asked me before, why when you go to a restaurant, are you only going to get a salad, choice of a salad, or some cooked greens? Hey, Andrea. Hi.
Pamela de Montepulciano.
Ciao.
Ciao. Because I think when people go out to eat, they're going out for the meat course, the pasta course.
Yeah, like we usually go out for things that we can't get, right? Like you go out for pizza. Usually we go out for like fried things, so your kitchen doesn't smell about frying, right? And what else? Pizza and maybe grilled steak, and just also because it's something that's so big, 2 pounds of meat. Usually you don't eat it with just 1 or 2 people. It's you need like your little group to have a party.
And what about you, Judy? What are you eating these days?
Vegetables. We love vegetables, but see, I can go out, so I go shopping, and so that's my little social thing. We go to the grocery store, we mask up. I think I had at the beginning, I think when things were really weird and we didn't have, they stopped our weekly markets. The girl who assists me in my cooking classes, Erica, she and her mother have a farm. So Wednesdays and Saturdays, they have stands. And so we go there and we get almost all our stuff directly from them because they actually produce it. They also have farro and chickpeas. She's quinoa, I think they started producing now too.
Interesting.
Onions, potatoes, not a lot of fruit, but she has beautiful apples and pears and the seasonal fruits. So I get, basically my menu is like, what is Erica's mom and her mom selling? Is what I base like everything on. And then, you know, pasta or rice. I prefer rice. Andrea prefers pasta. So I do a quick risotto, which I love, which is almost faster than boiling the water for the pasta. And I think people don't realize too how pasta isn't really the answer to everything in Florence. People were more into soups, minestra, minestrine,
Oh, yeah. Ooh, I love
the pastina in brodo, and not so much pasta. But we do pasta sometimes. But I get my cravings, so I made some steamed pork bao, Chinese food, the other day, and I've been buying piadina and making quesadillas. Just for fun. I found a jar of jalapenos for sale at the grocery store. And then, you know, we're not driving over to Dario's. It's about an hour away. We did a couple of times. Dario opened a food truck now.
Oh, yeah.
In the back parking lot. And so it's really, really fun and cute. And those guys are, you know, he's been keeping those people working, not all of them, of course, but that's what's been so hard, is to see the people suffering that had restaurants invested so much money and time trying to maintain things. It's just really hard.
I guess
we've gone to our local trattoria a couple times.
Dario was on the Uffizi, what was it?
Yeah.
Uffizi Mangiare.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
And I saw Fabio Picchi. I mean, that was really nice. I don't know if you guys saw it, if it was in English or subtitled, but the Uffizi Gallery in Florence was doing 5 chefs who would picked the paintings from the Uffizi Gallery, and then the chefs that they picked. So Fabio Picchi from Cibreo, Dario Valeria from down in southern Tuscany. And who else was there? The guy from Borde wasn't there. But 5 chefs doing 5 different dishes. So that was nice. And there has been some really inspirational chefs that have been like online every day too. From Naples, the Beppe Guida. He's been on like a couple of times a day, just cranking out recipes and food and being so happy. And here's somebody who has a Michelin star restaurant, which is closed. And then he opened up this guest house up in the mountains, and obviously no guests. And so he's got his mother still alive, and his sister and his daughter. His wife passed away, unfortunately, but he's like there with all these women. And then he has some of his staff, and they're just cooking. And he put out a book right now too. And I don't know if it was started before that, but it's just, there's been a lot of inspirational things online. I've been really thankful for watching some creative things too.
You know, it's a thing I was thinking about today too, is about all of you are dreaming about hopefully coming back to Italy and eating the good food and seeing everything again. And but the funny thing is, I need to come back to Italy too. I mean, I love where I am. I feel so lucky that I have my farm to be on, especially the spring when everything was so tightly locked down. We could go outside still, and that was very, very nice. But every day I have a little thought pop in my head of a place that I really wish I could go. I suppose you guys do it too. And I think, where would you go, Judy? Where's the first place you're going to go?
Oh, I'm missing Sicily and Puglia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this year was going to be packed with tours. It's like every other year I have really full season. I work with a slow food group out of Kansas City that brings a group of 15 to 20 people and their own slow food club. So it's really, really nice. And every other year we go to a different region. And this year was going to be Sardinia. So I was just about to leave to go finish my final research work in Sardinia when COVID blocked us all. So, you know, that was going to be a great tour, and I was really excited about that. And then Sicily, as you go twice a year. I've been going to Puglia now, and then I do custom things. So I was doing a private tour for someone up in the north. Lily was going to come with her friends. we'd already done Tuscany together and we were going to go do that. So I have a lot of people that come back and we do different regions. And so I had to, yeah, like you, canceled everything. And I didn't even try to rebook. I just refunded everything. There's just one group I kept for Sicily. And again, like we've redone it 3 times. And now they're going to try again at I think the end of October or November. We're going to try to go again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So is it okay if we do this? Like just, there's only a few people. If we ask each person, where's the first place they want to go?
Well, could we do that after after we finish? I could finish this now, the recording, and then we'll open it up to questions and answers. So let me just stop this right now. So thank you, Pamela, and we'll save this and put this on YouTube, okay?